Jesus summoned the crowds again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from the outside can defile that person. But the things that come out from within are what defile." When he got home away from the crowd, his disciples questioned him about the parable. He said to them, Are even you likewise without understanding? Do you not realize that everything that goes into a person from the outside cannot defile, since it enters not the heart, but the stomach, and passes out into the latrine? And thus he declared all foods clean. But what comes out of the man, that is what defiles him. From within the man, from his heart, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All these evils come from within, and they defile. The Gospel of the Lord. We heard in that first reading that God created Adam, and we know that God also created Eve, and we know that God also created a beautiful place for them to live. And they only had one rule, just the one. Just follow the rule. Look, there's so many beautiful trees that you can eat from. You can have whatever you want. This is an amazing, beautiful place. Just don't eat of the one tree in the middle of the garden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And as we know, Adam and Eve, our first parents, they just couldn't follow the rule. Don't eat the apple. I remember hearing a story about Adam and his two sons walking in the garden after Adam and Eve had eaten of the apple, and he and his two sons, Cain and Abel, were walking by, and this garden had just grown over with weeds. The gates were broken. It was just a horrible, ugly mess. And he pointed over there and he said, "Look, boys, that's where your mother ate us out of house and home." All they had to do was not eat the fruit from the tree. But the truth is, guys, it wasn't about the apple. It wasn't about that fruit. It certainly wasn't about a snake. It could have been a banana. It could have been an orange. It could have been any variety of fruits. Maybe maracuja. I don't know. It could have been a gopher. It could have been anything. The truth was, the problem wasn't the type of fruit it was. The problem wasn't what kind of animal it was. The problem was that Adam and Eve had a desire in their heart to be disobedient to God. It was within them. They had a problem inside of them that didn't want to follow rules. They had a problem inside of them that made them want to ignore God and ignore God's rules and ignore all of the things that He taught them and told them to do. They had their own plan, and their own plan did not include obedience. It wasn't about fruit, and it wasn't about that snake. It was about the truth that humans have a tendency, a weakness, to do what we should not do. And Jesus tells us as much. He says it's not about the outside. And Jesus tells his disciples it's not what's on the outside that defiles you. He uses the word defiles. And defiles means it makes you unclean. It makes you impure. It makes you rotten. He says the outside stuff doesn't make you rotten. That just goes into your stomach and then whoop, out the toilet. He said it's the inside. It's not what goes into a person, it's what comes out of a person. That's the horrible and ugly truth. And so I think we need to be very careful, young folks and old folks too. We need to be careful not just about what we eat. You see, we live in the United States, so we're always on diets here in the United States. We care a lot about what we put into our body. We're very careful to have no gluten. We're very careful to not have things that cause allergies. We're very careful about watching our fats and our proteins and our carbohydrates. We're very concerned about all the things that go into us, and we pay very little attention about what comes out of us. And Jesus says that's what we should really be concerned about, because what comes out of us, that's from our heart. That's the greatest way to know the real character of a person. He says, from within this body, this person inside here, comes evil thoughts, unchastity, theft. We steal from each other. We kill the soul. We say ugly, horrible, hurtful things. All of these things inside of our heart come out of our mouth, come out in our actions, and those are the things that kill the soul. And so we need to be very, very mindful. And now, I remember I told you, it's not about the apple. It wasn't about the fruit. It could have been anything. The truth is, students in school all the time, that's the setting. It's not the garden, it's the classroom. It's not the garden, it's your Zoom session. It's not the garden, it's your home, where we are disobedient to our parents. We are disrespectful to our teachers. We are doing these things. That's our garden. And the question is, what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of person are you really inside? Because out of a good soul, out of a good, clean heart, come kindness and love and joy and compliments. Those are the things that we are called to be as Christians. And so we need to do two things, and I want you to work on these two things. I want you to start saying yes to God, yes to God's rules, yes to God's commandments, yes to who God has put in charge of you, to doing the right thing. And I want you to say no to lust, no to evil, no to lies and hurtful things that we say. When I grew up, we used to have a little saying that says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is a lie. Words do incredible violence. The things that we say crush people. When we make fun of others, when we laugh at them, when we like to see other people and they suffer. That's the sadness and brokenness that is going on in our homes, between brothers and sisters and parents and children, in our community, between adults, their bosses and workers. And it has to stop with us. We are mindful that we have work to do, and the work that we have to do starts right here, inside my own heart. Go into confession to make my heart pure again, and making a commitment to God to follow Him, to do the right thing, and to love as I should.